Big C in the house. You know the name. Fin Posse Podcast. Changing the game. Fins up high. Feel the aqua and orange. Miami heat blazing. We scorching the floor. You know the tour. We stacking the saga. Legacy deep, call it football nirvana. Big C, break it down, got the stats in his veins. Play-by-play knowledge like he's calling the chains. Fins flying on the field, opponents feel the blast. Tyreek cheetah speed, leaving DBs in the past. Waddle with the wiggle, defense with the clamp. Aqua drip so clean, whole squash the champ. Tune in, Big C, got the mic on lock. Fin Posse Podcast, it's the cream of the crop. Breaking news, hot takes, repping the block. For the Dolphin faithful, it's the one-stop shop. Fin Posse. We the voice of the fans. Miami stand tall, got the world in our hands. Best podcast, yo, ain't no debate. Big C, big vibes, setting it straight. Defense smash, call it Aqua Tsunami. X locking routes like a South Beach Armani. O-line holding strong, trenches like a fortress. Big C dissected, no stack goes dormant.
Try to play, but you're never gonna beat me. Look the other way, what I'm doing ain't easy. Bloody hands stained from the people who deceive me. Muddy hands break through the chains, go free me. Looking for change, looking for pain. Pulling a mob, pushing a train. I'll never stop, stick to a lane. Pick up the pieces and go rearrange. I'll be the best above all the rest, put me to the test and expect nothing less, you check as I'm chess, what's happening next, yeah. He got the venom, a tangible weapon, no coming in second. This life is a lesson, he got a new engine from pain, it's a blessing. New focus, no guessing, just bold and obsession. All in his possession, you got their attention. I'll leave an impression and take a redemption. Just kill, no discretion, your mind is a weapon. 11-11, it's time for progression, You could try to play, but you're never gonna beat me. Look the other way, what I'm doing ain't easy. Bloody hands stained from the people who deceive me. Muddy hands break through the chains, go free me. People like sheep move feet, hurt it easy. You don't wanna be fast asleep when they scheming. Better stand tall, ready for a fight, believe me. When they try the chains, you can say no, free me. So he's been looking for somebody who could save him, instead of searching inside for what they gave him. A strong will, strong mind causes man.
What up, Fin fans? Welcome to another episode of the Fin Posse Podcast. I am your host, Big C, and this is brought to you by Game Changers Media. How is everybody doing today? Happy Monday. Happy March. We're in the month of March. Only a few short days away from the beginning of the new league year, which means the end of Tua Tagovailoa's time with the Miami Dolphins is rapidly approaching. So we think. Nothing's guaranteed as of yet. I think we pretty much know that Tua, this coaching staff, this front office isn't going to move on with Tua on this roster. It's, some people are extremely happy that we're moving on from Tua. Some people sad. I'm disappointed that it didn't work out the way that I hoped it would have when we drafted him. I wasn't one of those people that wanted to draft Justin Herbert. Yeah, Justin Herbert was the more physically imposing quarterback. He was the big, strong quarterback, but I've never been a fan of the Oregon quarterbacks, never. People know how I feel about Bo Nix. I've said it a bunch of times. I don't think Bo Nix is long for this league. Although the Denver Broncos were great this year, Bo Nix played pretty good football this year. I'm just not a fan of the Oregon quarterbacks dating all the way back to Joey Harrington. I remember being a big Joey Harrington fan, and Joey Harrington just did not live up to the hype. And then you had players like Marcus Mariota who never ended up being as good as what he should have been. So never was a big fan of the Oregon quarterbacks. Tua Tagovailoa, I was worried about the injury, of course, when we drafted him. I was worried about him being undersized. I was worried about him coming from Alabama. Alabama doesn't have a huge history of successful NFL quarterbacks, neither. But there was just something about Tua that I liked. And, you know, the amount of things that Tua dealt with while being a member of the Miami Dolphins, getting drafted, having to deal with Brian Flores, who didn't support Tua whatsoever, and then the plethora of injuries, the concussions, the hip injury sneaking back up on him from college. Tua was a good quarterback for us at times. Did he fail when we needed him the most? Yeah, but I mean, I don't think all that blame goes on Tua. I think this team as a whole failed when the game was on the line, when push came to shove. This team failed as a whole. It wasn't just Tua. It's not like the rest of the team played at this elite level and Tua just dragged us into the dirt. No, even the greatest players on this team, Tyreek Hill, made mistakes. Jalen Waddle made mistakes. It wasn't just Tua, but it's obviously time to move on. Tua's not the same player he was in 2023 when the Miami Dolphins decided to give him that new deal, which that new deal I wasn't in support of neither. I think that was a mistake. They tried to make him happy. He was a year away from getting a new contract. He'd only had one season where he was completely healthy, and you should have made him play that year out. But we didn't. And now we're sitting with a very difficult decision that puts this franchise behind the eight ball this year. And we're going to owe a lot of money to a quarterback that's not going to be playing for the Miami Dolphins. And it sucks. It does suck, but we're here. It's time for a rebuild. Hopefully Coach Half, hopefully Sully can figure the thing out. And, we moved on from Chris Greer finally. That's a good thing. Hopefully this rebuild goes differently than past ones. I'm still not on board completely. I'm not positive that we hired the right guys for the job, but we shall see. But yeah, the NFL Combine finished up. I love the NFL Combine. It gives you an opportunity to get to meet and learn more about players. I'm not a big college football guy. I catch a game here or there. I try to pay attention to the big time players. But this gives me an opportunity to learn a lot more about players, their skill sets, see where they're talented. And it gives me an opportunity to just gain so much information where typically I wouldn't know the things that I would know if I didn't watch the NFL Combine. So I'm grateful for that. I love this time of year. Let's say our good mornings. Bonnie, good morning. Marcos, good morning. Miller, good morning. Good morning. Good morning. But yeah, the 2026 NFL Combine is finally in the books. And like I said, it's a fun week for me every year. It's one of my favorite times of the year, actually. It's just cool to see these prospects get a chance to show off in front of coaches, in front of the new teams, and the media, and all the fans. Plus, since the entire league turns the page of the offseason, it's the signaling of the beginning of the new league year. And you also know that free agency is only a short few weeks away. This year was a special combine, in my opinion. Several position groups really showed out this year. This is a crazy draft class. This is a defensive heavy draft, in my opinion, from what I've seen. A lot of these guys showed up on the field, and we got a chance to see a deep pool of prospects. Just, man, these guys were absolutely phenomenal. It seemed like every defensive position group had a bunch of prospects that were just lighting it up. The offensive side of the ball is, I think, noticeably weaker. I don't think there's as many big name prospects. I don't think it's as deep on the offensive side. But there were some individual prospects on the offensive side of the ball that did some really good things also. Just an overview of the event. I went through and I looked at the top performances, the top prospects, and I kind of broke it up into two groups. Obviously you got the winners of the combine who helped their draft stock, and then you got the non-winners. And then also a little bit of a section where I just give you my 2 cents about what I thought about certain prospects. But if you're going to start anywhere, obviously you're going to start with the winners, right? Let's start with the winners. And I don't know if there was a bigger winner from this NFL combine this past weekend than Sonny Styles. Yeah, I think you have to start with Sonny Styles. He had one of the best combines performances that I've seen in a very long time. Listen, he measures out at 6'5", 244 pounds. So he's got the size. He's in the 67th percentile as far as arm length, 88th percentile wingspan, and 72th percentile hand size. This is all in spite of being a converted safety. This guy was a safety converted to linebacker. But the athletic testing is where this guy jumped off the pages. This is where he really separated himself from everyone else. Posting a 90% percentile in the 10-yard split, 95th percentile, the 40-yard dash, 100% percentile in the vertical jump, 100th percentile of the broad jump, and the 52nd percent and third 3-cone drills. Listen, scouts drool all over those numbers. Styles' tape was already crazy, already had him as a top 10 draft prospect. And I think most people knew that he was going to test pretty crazy. I just don't know if anybody predicted he was going to be this good. I don't know if anybody predicted him to be this good. In a side-by-side comparison to Kelvin Johnson, the Hall of Fame wide receiver for the Detroit Lions, he stacked up pretty favorably. Like his 40 time, all the things that he did in this combine stacked up pretty favorably to a Hall of Fame wide receiver. One of the greatest I've seen in my lifetime, Kelvin Johnson. This guy physically matches Kelvin Johnson. That's absolutely crazy. At the linebacker position. What are they feeding these kids these days, man? What are they feeding them? I think he was obviously a top 10 pick. Now I think he's moved himself up to where I don't think he's going to make it past number 7. I don't think he's going to make it past the Commanders. I don't see him dropping past the first 7 picks. Even as an off-ball linebacker, I don't see him dropping past the top 7 picks. He may have even pushed himself in that top 3. That's how good he was this weekend. He may even squeeze himself into that top 3 position. Cap, Taylor Green, bro, he didn't have a good day. Taylor Green didn't have a good weekend. Now, he ran really well. But Taylor Green didn't have a good weekend. My screen's frozen. I don't see my screen froze. Anybody else see my screen frozen? I'm watching it. I don't see me. Am I good now? Miller doing his Reason impression. He broke records for his athletic ability. He didn't break records as far as what do you want a running back playing quarterback? He didn't have a good day throwing the ball. He didn't have a good weekend throwing the ball. We didn't see you seen him throw the ball, brother? You seen him throw the ball? He broke like he ran the 40 great. He ran the 40 great. But throwing the football, and that's what we need. We need a quarterback that can throw the football. He didn't have the greatest day. Now he had a great vert. He had a great 40. He's 6'5", 227 pounds. All those things are great. But as far as his pro comp is DK Metcalf. You know, they're talking about they were going to ask him to run receiver routes. You know who I was really impressed with, and this is going off base a little bit. Listen. I love the live streams, and I love getting in the comments, and I love the back and forth. But it gets me off topic sometimes. Who I was really impressed with throwing the football this weekend was Ty Simpson. Now, do I think we should draft Ty Simpson? No, I don't. I don't think we should draft Ty Simpson. But Ty Simpson impressed me. Just because him and Lamar had the same college coach that don't mean nothing. That does not mean nothing. Just because Lamar can run the football great doesn't mean nothing. Listen, I don't think we should draft Ty Simpson. I don't. I mean, if he was there in the second round, I'd pull the trigger. But Ty Simpson impressed me. Ty Simpson impressed me this weekend. He was smooth and fluent with his passing. The ball consistently arrived on time. His footwork was crisp and clean. He showed that he's an elite deep thrower of the football. He doesn't have the strongest arm, but he has a strong enough arm where he can make all the throws. But his accuracy down the field is elite. All his throws were on time and precise. He looked good. He looked good. He looked really good. He impressed me. He looked better than I thought he was going to look. Malik's not signing a 1 year, $15 million. You know, that's all good and grand. You'd sign Malik 1 year, $15 million, but that's not the kind of deal he's going to get. If you're going to sign Malik to 1 year, $15 million, I'm going to sign. I'm going to sign Myles Garrett for a 1 year, $10 million. That's not what they're getting. So I think Ty Simpson looked really good this weekend. No, he definitely was throwing the ball deep. I watched the ball travel in the air 55 plus yards, and it hit his guy. He was hitting his guys. So I think Ty Simpson had a really good day. He's definitely the number 2 quarterback in this draft. Do we actually see a year where only one quarterback goes in the first round? Or does someone trade up and grab Ty Simpson? Do the Jets? The Jets have 3 first-round picks, I think. Do the Jets pull the trigger on Ty Simpson? Boo, me and my homies hate Bama quarterbacks for life. We just should have known when Saban endorsed it. Fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice. I won't get fooled again. And Lewis, I'm not saying that Lewis, I'm not saying Ty Simpson. I'm saying he had a nice combine. He looked good this weekend. He did. You know, I wouldn't go and draft another. I think the answer to our quarterback situation is next year's draft. I'm not concerned with getting a quarterback this year. I'm not. We don't have the roster to compete this year. So I'm not forcing this quarterback position. I'm not forcing it. I'm definitely not forcing it. Like I said, I would take a quarterback late. Would I consider Ty Simpson if he was there with my second pick? I'd have to consider it. But I think there's better options. First and foremost, we got to decide what's the main area, what position is needed most on this football team. And Lewis, I don't know if you're available, but I'm gonna share the link with you, brother. I mean, to me, I really like, and a lot of people have him mocked to us, is Mansour Delane, the cornerback from LSU. I think that kid's super talented. I think he can be a top 10 corner in the league by the end of this year. I think that kid's that good. I think he's that good. But this is a deep corner class. There's a lot of corners in this class that I like. So then, do we take a corner with our number 1 pick? Because I think we can get a really good corner in the 2nd round. I think we can get a really good corner in the 3rd round. I think we get a really good corner from this draft in the 4th round. This is a deep corner draft, but we need multiple corners. Another standout in this combine for me was Ohio State linebacker Arvell Reese, another Ohio State guy. Not to be outdone by his teammate Reese Match Styles, Sonny Styles 4.46 40-yard dash. He's slightly smaller than Styles, but still has a ridiculous. He's still ridiculous. He just has so much athleticism. During his combine interviews, he announced that he sees himself more as a true edge rusher than a hybrid player like he was in college. But that was expected. Pass rushers make more than a hybrid linebacker does. You know what I mean? You're gonna want to get the most bang for your buck. You know, you want to be known as a pass rusher. Reese's pass rush profile isn't as strong as guys who have made the transition from off-ball linebacker to edge rusher in recent years, but you can't argue with his traits. You know, I think this guy's probably going in the top 3 picks. I wouldn't be surprised if the Jets don't snap him up quick. Another guy that I loved in this combine was Texas Tech linebacker Jacob Rodriguez. Recent Styles stole the show, but I don't feel like there was a bigger winner than Jacob Rodriguez. His tape is excellent. He's a great player on tape. He's smart. He's instinctive. He's a productive player. The real question mark with him was whether he was what type of athlete he was. What type of athlete he was. If he could show that he was a good athlete, even an average athlete, I think he was good with his draft stock. But there's no question anymore. I think he did enough. Not only did Rodriguez clear that average markup for an athlete, I think he shattered it. Despite him being a smaller guy, he hit the 80th percentile in his 40-yard dash, the 88th percentile in the vertical jump, the 65th percentile in the broad jump, and the 86th percentile in three-cone drill. He's legitimately made himself a plus athlete. That completely changes his draft outlook, in my opinion. Now, his size could still keep him out the first round, but he's firmly a top 50 prospect now. And I think if he's there in the second round for the Miami Dolphins, you really got to consider taking Jacob Rodriguez. Central Florida edge, Malachi Lawrence really impressed me. Talk about explosive. Malachi made it known he's a player to watch in this draft. He has ridiculous measurements, testing scores. He's 95th percentile, 10-yard split, 98th percentile in the 40-yard dash, 98th percentile vertical jump, 99th percentile broad jump, all while sporting long arms and a nice history of production at UCF. Lawrence entered the day as a day 2 pick, a round 2 pick, but he's not flying under the radar anymore. These kinds of numbers get taken in the top 30. You know what I mean? This is a first round talent, but he's probably going to fall to that second round. We need pass rushing help. This kid would be phenomenal for us. He'd be phenomenal for us. But don't be surprised if Malachi Lawrence finds his way into the first round with those type of scoring. I don't know why my screen continues to freeze. It's not messing up my vocals, right? Yeah, I don't know why it keeps freezing. It's weird. Another guy that stood out to me, and this is a guy that I don't think the Miami Dolphins. I don't know why it's doing that. Hold on. Oh. That's weird. Yeah, I don't know. Just bear with the freezing. Florida defensive tackle of Caleb Banks. Let me read off his measurables real quick. 97 percentile height, 94 percentile weight, 93rd percentile arm length, 100 percentile wingspan, 97th percentile hand size, 52nd percentile vertical jump, 57th percentile broad jump. That's ludicrous numbers, truly absurd. Banks does struggle with his pad level and hasn't played too many games over the past 2 years, but his ability to get after the quarterback at his size is just plain nuts. Again, we're not going to spend a lot of time on him because the Miami Dolphins, in my opinion, aren't in the market for a defensive tackle. We've got our defensive tackle. It is what it is. We got our defensive tackles on this roster. It is what it is. Yeah, Anthony, listen, I offered it to Lou because me and Lou, we got this, you know, he's also a content creator, you know what I mean? And, you know, I gotta make it. I've been doing things a certain way. And listen, I'm not trying to be a dick whatsoever, but I gotta be able to I gotta try to grow my channel in certain ways. So I mean, not trying to be a jerk, not trying to be one of those people, but I gotta have special privileges for certain things since I kind of got monetized now. So if you'd like to come on and say something, you know, either when the memberships become available or the super chats are available. Again, I'm not trying to be a jerk. I'm not trying to be one of those guys. But that's if I let everybody do the same thing, I can't. What do I offer my members? What do I offer people that give me super chats? I got to be able to offer them certain things and certain privileges if they want to, you know what I mean? Another player I like a lot in this draft or after the combine is San Diego State cornerback Chris Johnson. I like Johnson. Johnson's one of the few corners that I got to see quite a bit this year. I like Johnson's tape quite a bit. He's one of the best off coverage corners in this class with elite zone awareness. He didn't play much man coverage for the Aztecs, but he was pretty hit or miss at the Senior Bowl. I was wondering how fast he would test because his tape raises some questions in that regard. But Johnson, he squashed those concerns running a 4.440. That's a great time. He added a 74th and a 71st percentile vertical and broad jump, respectively, recording plus quickness and explosiveness. That's a big boosted Chris Johnson's resume. That should lock him in as a top 50 prospect. I would love for him to be available in the second round for the Miami Dolphins. How would you feel if the Dolphins went corner? If they went Mansour in the first round and went Chris Johnson in the second? How, you know what I mean? How would you feel about that? I mean, that would lock us up. We'd have some lockdown corners for possibly the next 8 to 10 years. Miller, I'm still setting it up. I'm trying to get emoji set up and all that, brother. So it'll be done soon. I don't want to half-ass it just to have it out there. You know, I want to give you guys the best membership possibilities possible. So I'll have it done soon, brother. I appreciate it. I appreciate it, Miller. And I hope everybody understands. I'm not trying to be a jerk. I'm not trying to change up on people. I'm still interacting with everybody. I don't need to necessarily get super chatted to read a comment or a question. You know what I mean? But I gotta be able to offer my memberships something more than I just give the normal viewers. You know what I mean? Another player I like is another corner, Georgia cornerback Dalen Everett. He's a big physical cornerback. I really liked Everett's tape with the Bulldogs. My only question with him was his long speed. He answered that question on Friday with a 4.38 40-yard dash. That is good for the 90th percentile. On top of that, he is one of the best performers in drills with great hip fluidity and short area quickness on display that most of the other participants simply couldn't match. This corner room in this draft is deep. It's deep. Another guy that I love is Arkansas corner. What's his name? D'Angelo Pons, cornerback from Arkansas, 5'9", 182 pounds. But that kid's a dog. Again, that's 4 or 5 corners. And we're not even talking about the Tennessee corner. We're not talking about what's his name? Terrell. AJ Terrell's little brother. We're not even talking about them 2 corners. That's 7, 8 quality corners in this draft. That's 8 quality corners in this draft that I feel like could be day 1 starters. Here's another one. Texas cornerback Malik Muhammad. No other defensive back had a better day in drills than Muhammad. He was the best ball skills of any corner in the class, and that was on full display on Friday. He effortlessly played the ball and looked extremely fluid and quick during his workout. That's 9 corners in this draft. Super deep. That's why it makes it questionable that you would go Mansour Delane in the first round since the cornerback position is so deep. It makes it almost so you have to go in another direction. I think it makes it to the point where you don't draft Mansour Delane in the first round because you can get 2 starting corners in round 2 and 3. I mean, you know who was small? Brent Grimes. Brent Grimes was small. That boy Brent Grimes was a small cat. I love me some Brent Grimes, boy. I'll tell you what, I love me some Brent Grimes. Again, this cornerback room is so deep. This draft is so deep with corners that you can get 2 starting corners in the second and third round. And typically, I feel like if you want a starting corner from day 1, you got to grab them in the first round. But this year, there's so many. There's so many that you're able to grab them in the later rounds, and I think they could still be day 1 starters. For every Brent Grimes, there are 20 Cam Smith. Maybe, but this kid's a dog. He's a dog. I'm not sure how the corners from Washington performed. I just paid attention to the guys that jumped off the screen to me. And, obviously those 2 guys didn't jump off the screen as much as these guys did. Another guy that jumped off the screen to me was safety Dylan Thieneman from Oregon. I've always thought that he was a top 20 player in this draft. I'm happy to be right about it. The Purdue transfer had an exceptional combine performance, posting a 4.35 40-yard dash, good for the 95th percentile among safeties. That's on top of having a 93rd percentile vertical jump, a 65th percentile broad jump, and an 86th percentile wingspan, and leading all safeties at the combine and bench press reps. Oregon safety Dylan Thieneman. That's probably not how you say his name, but Another Oregon player that stood out, Kenyon Sadiq. I don't know. That's probably not how you say it. He wouldn't be right. It wouldn't be right to categorize him as a standout, a riser, a standout, but he's definitely a combine winner. He was just trying to maintain his first round draft stock. He needed to crush this event to do that. That's exactly what he did. 100 percentile vertical, 100th percentile broad jump, 98th percentile 10-yard split, 100% percentile 40-yard dash, and 89th percentile bench press. This kid ran a 4.3940 as a tight end. As a tight end, folks. That's insane. That's insane. As a tight end, he's faster than most receivers in the NFL. Sadiq is one of the most freakish athletic tight ends I've ever seen. Ever. He's still a raw player, though, who's learning how to be consistently productive. Sadiq needed a week like this to cement his first round status. But man, this kid, can you imagine running a 4.3940 as a tight end? That's crazy. Another tight end that lift things up, Vanderbilt tight end, Eli Stowers. Sadiq got all the hype entering the week, but Stowers was equally as impressive, if not more so. He set combine records for the vertical jump, 45.5 inches, the broad jump, 11'1", while posting a 1.59 second 10-yard split and a 4.51 40-yard dash. Good for the 84th percentile and the 86th percentile, respectively. Stowers placed a strong claim to the tight end 2 spot in the class with that performance, especially when combined with his elite receiving production for the Commodores. Given his age, he is not likely a candidate for the first round, but I expect him to come off the board early in the round 2. Now, on this channel, we've had some discussions about moving on from Devon Achane. We'd have some discussions about moving on from Devon Achane. And I've given my opinion where I don't think it's a smart move. I don't think it's a smart move. Yeah, Devon's going to want to get paid here sooner rather than later. But Devon Achane is only 24 years old. Devon Achane is one of the elite playmakers in this league. What I say about Oregon? Oregon. You want me to say Oregon? Oregon. Oregon. Now, for those people that want to replace Devon Achane, there's a couple options in this draft that I think could possibly replace Devon Achane. Now, do I think it makes sense? I don't. Yeah, you won't have to pay these guys. They'll be on the rookie contract for the next 5 years. But check it out. Replacing Devon Achane doesn't fill a hole. That's not a hole on this football team. Replacing Devon Achane doesn't make us a better football team. Trading Achane just creates another hole that we have to fill. And we're wasting our first round draft pick filling that hole. And yeah, you'll get a third round pick or whatever you get for Devon, but that's not helping this team get better. So yeah, you could go out and get Love, who had a fantastic showing at the combine. The kid's a beast. Jeremiah Love's a beast. He's fast, got good receiving skills. He could probably make up for Devon Achane. His pro comp is Gibbs, the Lions running back, the Lions all-star halfback. But again, that doesn't fill a hole. You're just creating another hole that we're filling. Instead of using our first round draft pick to fix another area that's not a concern. Running back's not a concern for us right now. Running back's not a concern for us right now. Trading Achane, you make it a concern. So now we have to use our first round draft pick to fill the Devon Achane hole. And now you're not making other areas of the team better. Love doesn't really have that much bigger of a frame. He doesn't. Achane's an every down back just as much as Love is. What's Love's frame? How big is Love? Yeah, I mean he's a little bit bigger. He's a little bit bigger. Maybe 15 pounds bigger. Yeah, I mean I guess he is bigger. But again, you're still creating another hole. Achane hasn't give the kid an opportunity. You're not fixing. You're not giving us an opportunity to fix another position. We're gonna have to fix. Why create another hole when not necessary? We have enough holes as it is right now, Miller. We have enough holes on this football team right now. Why create another? Make sure you guys hit that like button for me, please. Subscribe if you're not subscribed. Super chats are always welcome. I'm new to that. I appreciate it when they do come out. Again, I'll have the membership thing set up soon. I've got a lot of things planned for memberships. We're going to be live streaming all the games together. Madden tournaments, Madden simulations, more in-depth breakdowns, specialty videos, all types of stuff. All types of stuff. Also, I'm about to start a fitness channel. I just recently got back into the gym, and I'm gonna mark my journey. You know, it's been a long time coming. I've gotten into the gym a few times over the course of my life, and I've never really pushed myself. I haven't pushed myself in a long time to really get in shape. And now that I'm 40 years old, I realize the importance of it, and I'm gonna do that and try to document it. So if anybody want to take that journey with me, and I'm gonna be starting a page for that. So definitely, hit me up if you wanna join that page too. It's gonna be hard work, but I'm for it. But yeah, I don't see the point in creating another hole on this football team when it's not needed. I agree, but we have enough holes on this team. You're wasting our first round draft pick replacing a player that don't need to be replaced. We don't have a money problem, Miller. We got a bunch of young players on young deals. After this year, who are you giving that money to? Because Halfley and Sully say they're not about going out and signing high-priced free agents. You act like Achane's asking for $30 million a year. This isn't a Tyreek Hill situation where receivers want $35, $40 million a year. Achane, I'm guaranteeing you can sign Achane on a 4-year deal, $13 to $14 million a year. And for a player of his magnitude, I think that is more than, I think that's fair. We're going to do a mock draft real soon, Raphael. But if you have your heart set on replacing Devon Achane, and you don't want to go Jeremiah Love, Arkansas running back Mike Washington Jr., man, he had a great combine. Easiest one of the best moments of the combine, in my opinion, was Washington just broke down in tears after running a 4.33 40-yard dash. Fastest of any back at the event. You could just see how much that kid worked for that. You know what I mean? He let all that emotion out. You've seen how hard he worked to get that 40 time down to 4.33. And the fact that he was able to meet that goal on one of the biggest stages in the world, it just, it was too much for him. And he just broke down. You know what I mean? So I'm happy for the kid. I think it boosted his draft stock. He's another player that, if you're trying to replace Devon Achane, which I don't understand why you would, Mike Washington Jr. is that back that's capable of doing it. Not to mention, he's a bigger back. This kid's 6'1", 223. He jumped well. He was 91st percentile in the vertical, 93rd percentile in the broad jump. Washington's combine performance might have booked him a ticket to a second-round draft pick. He was absolutely phenomenal. Alabama wide receiver Jeremy Bernard he's a tough dude on tape. He tested much better than what I expected him to. He ran a 4.48 40-yard dash. He hit the 87th percentile on both 10-yard split and the 3-cone drill. Short area quickness and strength are hallmarks of his game. He showed that at the combine. Bernard is right on the cusp of a late second, early third rounder. If we could get him in the third round, that'd be great. We need wide receiver help. Arizona State offensive tackle Max Ahiraker. Max Ahiraker. This is another guy that he had a fantastic Senior Bowl. Made his case for a first round pick. He picked right off where he left off at the Senior Bowl. He had the second fastest 40 time of all offensive linemen. Did good on both his jumps. His on-field work looked really good. He was smooth. It was effortless. Showed a lot of fluidity. Natural athleticism. Great technique. He's a good player. The non-winners, Texas A&M edge rusher Cassius Howell. While other players were testing out of their minds, Howell had some tough numbers. He was in the 0 percentile in both arm length and wingspan. I knew his arms were short, but that's still a brutal number. Combined with his testing, just slightly above average in the jumps, Howell didn't have a great weekend. He has elite speed for a defensive lineman. But I would like to have seen him perform better. Those jumps, that's how they base explosiveness. And he didn't perform good. Another player that did not perform well was Clemson defensive tackle Peter Woods. He just didn't test. He's still likely to be a first round pick, but he just, while other guys were tearing it up, he did nothing. Ohio State cornerback Davidson Big Son. He's a taller corner, measured at 6'2", perhaps most infamously among college football fans for his physical play style and penchant for committing penalties. He didn't have a great day at the combine. He weighed in at just 189 pounds and had a disappointing explosive testing numbers, checking in at just the 24th percentile in vertical jump and 28th percentile in broad jump. Perhaps most concerningly with him, he struggled in the drills portion of the combine. His ball skills looked clunky, and he was stiff out of his breaks, struggling to keep with his feet, and he tried to cut and move as quickly and tightly as some of the other prospects. I think he fell to a day 3. Nebraska running back Emmett Johnson. There's a pretty clear top 3 running back class with a lot of candidates behind them looking to stand out. Johnson had a rough day at the office on Saturday. He ran a 4.56 second 40-yard dash, just 10th percentile, 3-corner time. Small, slow, and stiff is a bad combination. Johnson will likely fall towards the back of the pack in the crowded room. Notre Dame wide receiver Malachi Fields. Fields was starting to see his stock rise as high as the back end of the first round, which was always a little crazy to me. That can safety be put to rest after this week. He's a bigger receiver at 6'4 and a half, 218 pounds. Even so, his 4.61 second 40-yard dash was disappointing. Why would you draft a wide receiver like Malachi Fields? Yeah, he's 6'4", 218 pounds, but he ran a 4.61 40-yard dash. Why would you draft him when you could get Sadiq, who's bigger, stronger, and ran a 4.39 40? Why? Why? Make it make sense to me. At Notre Dame, even dating back to his days at Virginia, Fields ran a very limited route tree. It wasn't much of a separator. He had a strong Senior Bowl, and his physical profile is obviously enticing, but he's much more of a day 2 player than a potential day 1 selection, and he's someone I'd probably be lower on than consensus. And one player I'd like to mention that didn't test is Jermod McCoy. Jermod McCoy, if was healthy, he'd be the number 1 corner in this draft. But he's coming off an ACL injury. He didn't play at all last year. He didn't perform in any drills. He says he's going to perform at his pro day, but there's no way that I'm drafting Jermod McCoy, no matter how high his potential is, coming off of ACL, and I didn't get to see him play. I'm done with the Miami Dolphins drafting players that are coming off injuries. So even though this guy has all the potential in the world, there's no way that I'm taking a chance on him. There's no way. There's no way. Well, yeah, Bonnie, I appreciate that. I'll let you know when I get it up and running. It's a different type of thing for me because I just live stream and I'm not very, you guys all know, I've said it a million times, I'm not very computer literate. So this would take me recording video other places and uploading it to my computer and cutting the film and this and that. So it's going to be a challenge for me, but I hope to get it started real soon. I'm going to lay it out there on the line. You're going to see this. You're going to see me in all my glory. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know what a good name for the channel to be. I don't want to limit it, but I'm 40 years old and I'm tired of being tired. I'm tired of not being in shape, not, and certain things as you get older bother you more. And I'm looking to change those things. I'm looking to be more confident in myself. And, I got a lovely wife that loves me and I love her. but that doesn't mean that I have to be comfortable with my appearance, even though I'm not out looking for new females or anything like that. I just want to be more confident, and I want to be healthy. I have a stepsister that died we were the same age. She died 2 years ago. I had a cousin, Carrie. She died 2 years ago. She was 2 years older than me. People dying for crazy reasons. And, I got ankles that swell up now for no reason and stuff like that. And I want to get myself healthy, too much processed foods, too much bull crap in your system. And I'm trying to change. I'm trying to make changes. I'm trying to live my life. So I appreciate you guys. I'll let you know when it's set up. I'll also let you guys know when I'm going to try to get the membership done tonight. So if you guys want to join the membership for the channel, I greatly appreciate it. It'd be such a help. I want to do some giveaways. I was trying to wait till we get to 1,000 subscribers. It seems like it's moving slower and slower and slower, though. I want to do some giveaways because I want to change the background of my channel, this channel. So I got jerseys I want to get rid of, all types of stuff. But yeah, it's gonna be tough, Bonnie. It's gonna be tough, and I'm not gonna, I think if we hold each other accountable, it'll be great. You know what I mean? I think if I have other people to hold me accountable and maybe do weekly weigh-ins and this, that, and the third, that'd be great. That's a good idea. Weekly weigh-ins. Hunter, Miller, I know you a bigger guy. We're gonna go shirtless up on this channel. It's about to get freaky. It's about to get freaky. We do weekly weigh-ins. Hold each other accountable. You know what I mean? But yeah, a lot of good prospects in this combine. Very impressive combine. I'm interested to see what happens. I'm interested to see what type of players Jeff Hafley and Sully draft. We're used to speed by Mike McDaniel. So I'm curious to see what type of players they bring in. I'm curious to see what position we go in first. But we still got two with the deal with, so that's got to be taken care of here very shortly. But yeah, I'm going to get out of here. I appreciate you all. I love y'all. I appreciate y'all. And you know what it is. Fins up. We got the league New Year starting here. Free agency will be here March 11th. Players can start negotiating March 9th, or they'll start talking. So I don't expect the Dolphins to be making any moves. We don't have any money. The Dolphins can come up with some money, but don't expect the Dolphins to be making any big moves. But yeah, I love y'all. I appreciate y'all. And it's fins up forever and ever. Until then, peace.
Yo, Big C in the house. You know the name. Fin Posse Podcast. Changing the game. Fins up high. Feel the aqua and orange. Miami heat blazing. We scorching the floor. The tour. We stacking the saga. Legacy deep, call it football nirvana. Big C, break it down, got the stats in his veins. Play-by-play knowledge like he's calling the chains. Fins flying on the field, opponents feel the blast. Tyreek cheetah speed, leaving DBs in the past. Waddle with the wiggle, defense with the clamp. Aqua drip so clean, whole squad's the champ. Tune in, Big C, got the mic on lock. Fin Posse Podcast, it's the cream of the crop. Breaking news, hot takes, repping the block. For the Dolphin faithful, it's the one-stop shop. Fin Posse. We the voice of the fans. Miami stand tall, got the world in our hands. Best podcast, yo, ain't no debate. Big C, big vibes, setting it straight. Defense smash, call it aqua tsunami. X locking routes like a South Beach Armani. O-line holding strong, trenches like a fortress. Big C dissected, no stack goes dormant.